Hello everyone and welcome to your Flip Collaborate recording for your Assignment 1 portfolio. Firstly, I'd like to do an acknowledgement of country. We respectfully acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional owners of the land on which Swinburne Australian campuses are located in Melbourne's East, Outer East, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We are honoured to recognise our connection to the Wurundjeri country, culture, history, spirituality, and through these locations we strive to ensure that we operate in a manner that respects, honours the elders and ancestors of these lands. We respectfully acknowledge the Swinburne Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander staff, students, alumni, partners and visitors. We also acknowledge and respect the traditional owners of the land across Australia, their elders, ancestors, cultures, heritage, and recognise their continuing sovereignties of all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander nations. We respectfully recognise the diverse country in which we're grateful to learn and live today. Okay, let's begin now with a quick breakdown of what you need to include in your portfolio assignment. There are 18 focus areas that you need to collect evidence for to address each of those focus areas. 18 focus areas are listed at the top of this slide, as well as in the assignment details for you, if you'd like to head over to the assignment details page. Each of the 18 focus areas, you are required to provide 3 components. You need to provide a piece of evidence, an annotation, and a reflective statement. This is for each of the focus areas, or 18 of all of them. For 3 of the focus areas, there is required evidence that you have to include, and these are the focus areas 1.1, 3.2, 6.1. For focus area 1.1, you'll provide evidence for at least 5 or more observations for either individual children, groups of children. The focus area 3.2, you're required to provide 2 sequential learning plans as your evidence. And these sequential learning plans are going to be based on the first observation you have included in focus area 1.1. Based on the first sequential learning plan you provide, you will then evaluate this learning plan that you've implemented it and reflected on it, and you will create your second learning plan. So your 2 plans will be linked, therefore they will be sequential learning plans. These need to be sequential so that you and us can see them being based off your observation. We assess the complete planning cycle, so your learning plans need to be in a sequential order. For 6.1, you'll be providing your SMART goals here. You'll address these during your modules on the tasks in the very initial weeks, first few weeks of your teaching period. And these 3 focus areas, you need to provide the required evidence, as this is a part of the criteria for the assignment. For each focus area, you'll provide an annotation, a reflective statement. So at the end of the 18 pieces, you'll also have 18 pieces of evidence with an annotation and a reflective statement. You will link it to, and you will need to provide a reference list at the end, which is in the APA 7th edition formatting. And then after your reference list, you will provide an appendix. In the appendix, this is where you include your 2 sequential learning plans. They are the only piece of evidence that will be provided in the appendix. This is because they are quite large documents and you'll be providing 2 complete detailed Swinburne Online learning plans into your appendix. And this allows for your OLA, when they head into marking, to mark and read your sequential learning plans, as when it may be too small if you just provide it in the evidence. So they must be in the appendix section. The evidence. With your evidence, you need to include evidence that you believe is best demonstrates your knowledge and understanding and all the skills specified in each of the 18 focus areas. Your evidence must come from this current professional experience placement. It cannot come from a past placement, external source, or prior submissions. All of your evidence needs to come from your current placement. This evidence will include pieces of evidence such as your observations made while you've been on placement, your learning plans, any teaching and learning resources that you have created or collected, any images of practice that you'll be implementing, a particular learning experience, a particular policy, or a process of any reflections or self-assessments that you have made from the placement, any actions that you have taken regarding your supervising teacher feedback. Some of the evidence may overlap across different focus areas, and that is perfectly okay. However, each focus area must have its own individual reflective statement and its own annotation. Evidence that's required for focus area 1.1, 3.2 and 6.1. Your evidence that is required will have at least 5 observations of children, either individual children or groups of children. This must be included as evidence for focus area 1.1. For focus area 3.2, you will include one set of 2 sequential learning plans. So linking plans here we're wanting to see. For focus area 3.2, for small groups, these 2 sequential learning plans will be based on your observations of children, but they need to both be planned for a small group of children, not an individual child. The plans must be based on your observations of children, and they must be included in the appendix item at the bottom of your assignment. You need to make sure that your learning plans are using the Swinburne Online Early Childhood Learning Plan template, and these are found in the Padlet for the unit. Your supervising teacher must comment on the learning plan down the bottom, sign and date your learning plan. These will be included in your appendix. For focus area 6.1, you'll be required to submit your SMART goal, and this has to be included as evidence for area 6.1. And this is what you will be completing in your modules for the unit. If you're unsure of where to find any of the documents required here, please reach out to your OLA to ask for assistance, and also we'll go in more depth of this in the live Collab sessions. But please make sure you bookmark the Padlet because everything for the unit is found in here. Annotations. You are required to include an annotation for each focus area within your evidence that explains what the evidence is, and it provides context for the reflective statement. These annotations are going to be short, no more than 1 or 2 sentences, and this is required for each of the 18 focus areas. Your reflective statement. Again, you'll have to have one reflective statement for each of the 18 focus areas, so you'll have 18 reflective statements in total. Each reflective statement should be at least 1 paragraph or 2, and it must be 200 to 250 words in length, and is supported by at least 1 reference to a relevant scholarly literature. All up, all of your reflective statements, we need to see a minimum of 10 different academic references. This excludes the government websites such as the Early Years Learning Frameworks, NQS and QF, and must include the required prescribed texts or readings within the unit. You need to demonstrate links between theory and practice, and you must be relevant to the Australian context of infant and toddlers education and care. These are required elements for the criteria for the assignment and for each reflective statement. You must make a clear connection between the evidence that you have provided and the focus area that explains the importance and value of the evidence. It's more than a description here. We need to see what happened, and you need to tell us what your growth and understanding and development is in terms of a pre-service teacher in relation to that focus area. We want to see in-depth discussion here, and we want to see you dive deeper than a description. So let's have a look at the criteria. So criteria is your selection of evidence. So criteria 1 is the selection of evidence, and this needs to be relevant and appropriate to each of the focus areas. It needs to increasingly reflect your consolidation of the practice of at least 5 observations of children, individual or group. It must include evidence for focus area 1.1, where the evidence is large documents such as your learning plans. It needs to be included in the appendix. You need to include a SMART goal and it must be included in focus area 6.1. You need 2 or more sequential learning experiences for your small group, and that needs to be included at the end in your appendix. Your first plan of the sequential learning plans, the sequence plans, must be based on the 5 observations that you included in focus area 1.1. So again, focus area 1.1 needs to have 5 observations, and these observations inform your learning plan. Okay? You need to include a sequential learning plan in your appendix using the Swinburne Online Early Childhood Learning Plans, and this is found in the Padlet. And if you're unable to find it, please reach out to your OLA. And your supervising teacher feedback must be given on that learning plan and signed. They must give you a signed and date it as well by your supervising teacher. You need to show the capacity to be able to link or transition between it. So we need to see a transition and a link between the learning plans. We need 2 learning plans, so they are based on the reflections or evaluations of the first learning plan. You will create a second learning plan, and this needs to be linked to the initial one and your observations. You've got to show that you are developing and consolidating the ability to be able to sequence learning experiences together in an order. Okay, so here we're just really wanting to see the cycle of planning. Okay, so observe, reflect, evaluate, plan, evaluate, observe, reflect, plan. So we need to see that cycle and that of planning here. Criteria 2 is your annotation. Each evidence or piece of evidence has a brief annotation, which is 1 to 2 sentences that provides context to your reflective statement. Your reflective statement is criteria 3. Reflections in criteria 3 looks at your reflective statements and ensures that they are analysed and explain how you developed your skills and understanding of that particular focus area. Your reflective statements need to make an explicit link to the national quality standards, and here there is a slight change in this teaching period. You need to make links between the NQS as well in your reflective statement. We need to see linking and referring to the NQS as a part of the criteria for you to be able to pass the assignment. Here we're looking for sound connections that you have made between the evidence and the focus area that explains the importance of the evidence. You need to provide each reflective statement supported by at least 1 reference to scholarly literature. You must engage within the unit readings and material as you go through the teaching period. We need to see references to at least 10 minimum academic references. You need to have included the unit readings and the material throughout your portfolio assignment. These sources from the unit can be used as well as external sources, but we need to see a minimum of 10 academic references being used within your assignment. They need to be relevant to the Australian context of infant and toddler education and care, and we need to see this in your assignment because this is a part of the criteria for the assignment. Okay, so criteria 4 looks at your academic expression and structure and referencing. Here we need to see that you use a clear style and mostly appropriate educational terminology that shows a consolidating understanding, and it shows that you have ensured accuracy with your punctuation, spelling and grammar structure. You need to use the APA 7th style edition for referencing throughout your portfolio assignment and formatting according to the APA 7th style edition. You need to also include a reference list at the end of your portfolio assignment. We will go in more detail in the live collab in the upcoming weeks with the assignment 1, but here I just wanted to touch on the formatting and layout of your assignment, and here is an example of how this would look. The formatting and layout, you will need to have the focus area, which is the ATSAL standard, as your heading, and then underneath you'll need to have a subheading, which is the NQS standard area. You need to refer here to both of those for each focus area. And then you'll embed or insert a screenshot of your piece of evidence, except for 3.2, which that goes into your appendix underneath the assignment. So underneath the evidence or the screenshot or what you have there, you'll need to insert your annotation, and then underneath your annotation you'll have a reflective statement, and which is approximately 200 to 250 words in length. So this is how each of the 18 focus areas will look. Resubmission. Okay, so this assignment is a pass or fail assignment, and there is an opportunity to be offered a resubmission for minor amendments. This is only reserved for minor necessary changes that you can correct within a 48-hour period for you to get a pass for the assignment. It needs to contain all required components, and it needs to be in the originally submitted and on time, and it must meet the specific assignment criteria that we have just gone through here. If the portfolio is any of the listed items here, we will not, and it will be a no pass, okay? So you will not be offered a pass with a minor amendments if the amendments is not possible within a 48-hour period. It's only reserved for minor amendments. So if the portfolio is incomplete, it's not original, it has no academic references, it's not submitted on time, it's late, the submission is incorrect, the piece of evidence is missing, the reflective statements are missing, and there's at least 50 to 60% of the criteria not being met, you will not be given an opportunity to resubmit for a minor amendment. So this is only for minor details. Okay, this is your acceptance declaration here. So please make sure you upload and submit your assignment and that you have read the assessment declaration, particularly in point form number 4, where it says that you have not previously submitted this work for any other course or unit, and this work needs to be original and reflect your current placement experience in this teaching period only. Okay, thank you everyone for listening to the Flip Collaborate recording, and I will see you in the live collabs or on the discussion boards. Please don't forget to reach out to your OLA and your learning group. They're excellent resources to have there. There's lots of resources within the discussion boards. And head over to the assignment 1 discussion board. There's lots of details in there. Ask as many questions. And don't forget, there's many areas of the Student Help Hub to access resources, and also our wonderful Padlet has everything that you need as well. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the live collabs. Bye for now.